Once again, I welcome you all for this series of Searching the Truth. Today, once again, we are going to look into a beautiful truth. And I believe that this truth will enlighten you and this will really strengthen you to come out of your situation. You know, I'm not going to read the entire passage, but I believe you might have heard about the story of the Samaritan woman. In John chapter 4, it talks about the Samaritan woman where Jesus goes to her and asks her for water. Now, I'm not going to read the entire passage to you or explain the entire passage to you, but there is a particular thing that really touched my heart, and that is what I would like to keep in front of you. You know, I would like to read a verse from John chapter 4 and from verse 7 onwards. Okay, I'm going to read from 7 to 10. And then I would like to explain it to you. When a Samaritan woman came to draw water, Jesus said to her, "Will you give me a drink?" His disciples had gone into the town to buy food. The Samaritan woman said to him, "You are a Jew, and I am a Samaritan woman. How can you ask me for a drink? For Jews do not associate with Samaritans." Jesus answered her, "If you knew the gift of God and who it is that asks you for a drink, you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water." And also, verse 12, if you see, it says, Jesus answered, "Everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again. But whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst." Two things which really touch my heart. The thing is, the topic for today's message is give to him what you need to give him and take from him what you need to take from him. There's an awesome truth over here. And my question was, there are two questions. Number one, Jesus is asking her water, for which she says, "How can you ask me for water? Because you're a Jew and you don't associate with the Samaritans." And Jesus says, if only you knew the gift of God, and if you knew who is asking you for a water, you would rather, instead of you trying to give me water, you would have asked me for a water, for a drink. Now this is something which we need. So my question is, if Jesus was in a place of giving the water, then why did he ask her water? That's the number one question. Number two, as we read in verse 13, but whoever drinks the water I give them, will never thirst. Indeed, the water I give them will become in them a spring of water welling up to eternal life. See, so the question is, which water are we drinking? Is it the water which Jesus is giving, or the water which someone else is giving? He says, your thirst will become or will disappear when you drink the water I give you, which I gave you. The word I gave you is very, very important. So, coming to the question number one, where if Jesus was in a mindset of giving the water, when Jesus was in a mindset of giving the water, then why should he ask her water? When I was thinking about this, The response of the Samaritan woman was, she said, how can you even ask me for water? I'm a Samaritan woman. Which means, man sees the face, but Jesus is seeing the heart of the woman. This woman was in a place where she was not actually ready to give water to anybody. She was like, I have a need. I have a lack, I have a need, and I am in a position of receiving and not in a position of giving. Where she says she's so fed up of her life, she's so depressed. She's like, I don't care who is standing in front of me. I am not going to give water. So the first thing she says is, how can you even ask me water? So even if a Samaritan would have come over there, I believe that this woman would not have given him the water. The reason is because later on when we read, when she is all set to receive the water, Jesus is telling her, bring your husband. And he says, I have no husband. And Jesus says, yeah, you're right. You have 5 husbands, and the one who is you have currently is also not your husband. So there is a thirst in her which is switching from place to place. She is a woman who is searching for satisfaction. Many of us are thirsty, we are not satisfied. The problem is satisfaction. There are a lot of things which we thirst for, which we long for. We are so fed up of trying again and again and again, and still we are not satisfied. Nothing is making us satisfied, and we are in a position of, we don't want to even associate with anybody. So when Jesus had come, she just said, how can you even ask me water? So that's why Jesus answered not to her words, but to her heart, and said, if only you understand the gift of God, and if only you knew who is asking you the water, then you, instead of trying to give me a water, you would have rather asked me for water.